It's Thursday, May the 30th, 2024. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne. This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, and I'm going to give to you, presenting to you in just a mere moments, 8 news stories from yesterday you vetted as conversational, covering information, politics, current events, and pop culture news, featuring stories today with Scottie Scheffler, Cardi B, and birthday wishes to Idina Menzel, or as that other guy, Idina Menzel. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. Now, we're going to explain how the vetting process got here, how we got these headlines, how we got these stories here in just a bit. And like I said, follow off with some fun things for today, birthdays and all that great stuff. So stick around for all that great stuff. But in the meantime, put this in your head. Our website is thisisaconversationproject.com. That's the home for the Conversation Project. All the information you need to know about us is there. So check it out when you're done with this newscast this morning. And of course, email us whenever you feel like it at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Conversate with us on things we can do better to make things work out as we do here. Now, let's get into the news headlines for today. As we said, 8 stories from yesterday. We'll explain some of the context of the stories and how they got here as we go along going forward today. Let's get into them headlines, shall we? Starting off with story number 1 this morning. The big one from a few weekends ago is still a big one today as we're trying to figure out what's going on. But now we know that the conclusion, at least that word is now, is charges were dropped against Scottie Scheffler from Louisville arrest. Charges were dropped against a professional golfer when they decided it was just not worth pursuing. Of course, what happened a few weeks back at the PGA Championship in Louisville, Kentucky, Scheffler tried to drive around a police barricade while they were dealing with a accident on the road on the way to the golf course. And essentially, he basically hit the cop with his car, drug him a little bit. So that was essentially assaulting a police officer. The whole thing went well into insanity, if you will. And now they're saying no ill will regarding incident on both sides, both the police officers and for Scottie Scheffler. They wanted it all to just go away, charging him with the charge and then dropping it. Essentially, it shows there's no prejudice, no means to actually be angry about this, no legal court action against anyone, which is what we're shooting for, essentially dropping this case completely. And that's what's happened. It's done. Let's move on to our second story this morning. Caitlin Clark makes WNBA history in Indiana Fever loss to Los Angeles Sparks. Caitlin Clark made history for the WNBA against the Fever. 88-82 was the loss to the Sparks, but Clark became the first player in the history of the game for the NBA to record a triple-double in her rookie season. She achieved this by scoring 20 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists. Triple-double. The Fever have been struggling this season, and Clark's performance highlights that she's a standout player and will be big in the league in someday. In fact, pretty big now. There was a press conference a few days back where she's basically saying they're tired. Their season just ended, and they're already already on the court playing basketball. The NBA basketball season is still in full season, full gear, and so the draft for those rookies and the full summer to get ready for that ain't nearby yet. And they have a full summer season to get rookies in shape for playing basketball for the NBA. WNBA, they finish college basketball, they get drafted, they go straight to work immediately because their finals are essentially in the ending of the summer leagues in basketball because it's summer. So she has a point. There's a lot going on. A lot of the younger ones are having issues. The Pacers, the Fever, I should say, are extremely young team, and so they've not had a lot of time to gel, as they've said. We'll see what happens when it gets some time to really get some rest and get some actual practice and not just walkthroughs going through because, as Clark says, she just finished her second amazing season in WNCA, 4 seasons total, and she's tired. She's tired. Our story at number 3 this morning, sticking with someone else who's a little bit frustrated, but try to get out there. Gabby Douglas, she pulls out of the U.S. Championships, which ends her bid to make the Olympic team for 2024. A 3-time Olympic gold medalist withdrawn from the U.S. Championships due to an ankle injury. This withdrawal ends her attempt to qualify for the team for 2024. She was the all-around champion in 2012 and worked to make her comeback in hopes of competing in Paris. This injury basically forces her out and doesn't get a chance to actually compete on her talents. But the injury means she can't really compete at full strength, so she doesn't have a chance to really make the team. We have a lot of people pushing to stick in gymnastics a lot longer these days. And I guess it is what it is. People who have the thrill of the hunt, who want to keep things going, want to keep things going on. And these girls are good. And the fact that they get so good and get so many accolades at such a young age is amazing. So why not keep on going? I mean, what's there next to do? I mean, she can do gymnastics, she can do commentaries, she can do plenty of other things she can do, but she can't actually compete at an older age because she's much older. We'll see what happens with Gabby Douglas going forward, and we'll see what happens. Simone Biles is, of course, looking to make the team, and she'll probably make the team. And what other, I'll say, old heads in gymnastics will try to make the team. The big thing is, even the old heads are at so much heads and shoulders above some of the younger talents around the world. We're just kind of stacked here in gymnastics for the USA. Let's move ahead to the number 4 story this morning. And we've talked about this one before, and now we see what the end game is for Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy demands BuzzFeed hire Tucker Carlson, Aaron Rodgers, a few other sort of wild cards. Now, the former GOP presidential candidate bought a big chunk of BuzzFeed because they need the money. They need the efforts. They need somebody to help right the ship, if you will. Who does he say, Ramaswamy says, need to be on the team? Bill Maher, Tucker Carlson, Aaron Rodgers, Charles Barkley. Ramaswamy made this demand as part of his activist investment strategy in BuzzFeed. He believes that bringing these diverse and influential personalities on board could revitalize the company's media presence and broaden its audience reach. Sorry, no pause there because it's kind of going there, but I just actually saw a couple of videos on YouTube, but one in particular that popped me on how investment bankers and hedge funds taking over media companies, which is really big because media companies took over radio and sort of messed that up. How guys like this, hostile investors who take over, want to make big demands because they believe they can fix things, and they break them worse. But because they have money, they get in because they get that, and they make it worse. I'm not sure Charles Barkley's going to make BuzzFeed any better. I'm pretty sure Tucker Carlson's not making BuzzFeed any better. It will bring some noise. Will bring some eyeballs. I'm not sure any actual people who care about what we're calling news these days are going to be a part of this. Let's go back to Sean Combs. Diddy's ex-friends, bad boy artists, detail alleged abuse and violence. This is a story that's coming out of Rolling Stone, I believe. We pulled it from a Yahoo News aggregator where we got this from. But here's what the robot editor gave us to as the actual article. Sean Diddy Combs has faced numerous allegations of violence and abuse from former friends and Bad Boy Records artists. For the past 6 months, several individuals have come forward with stories detailing incidents of physical abuse, threats, and exploitation during their time working for Combs. Mace, a former Bad Boy artist, referenced the increasing pressure on Combs, suggesting that reparations and accountability are on the horizons. Mace is a very particular one because Mace literally was found by Bad Boy and turned into a big gold thing. And then, of course, he went a totally different direction, went into the ministry, back into music, now sort of part-time, still doing ministry as part of his life. But a big-time guy that was essentially saw as the sidekick for the longest time going forward. So many artists have complained about Bad Boy screwing him out of money. So many artists complain about Diddy himself just not being a great player in the game. And now we're trying to find out, or now we're finding out, what other folks have said. Essentially, we're finding our heroes are extremely flawed, or the leaders aren't as great as they seem to be with the full polish and shine of the PR company. Sean Diddy Combs seemed to be sort of a monster on the inside, even though he has the princely look on the outside. Let's move on. Let's keep going to Monsters and Princes, pun intended, in the story that's next. And this is a story we actually teased for yesterday. We'll explain what tease means in a minute, but we put stories out there for you to engage in, and we'll explain how that works in a minute. This is one because you guys respond to stories about porn. It happens. You respond to stories about Candace Owens, and I have this love-hate, which more of a hate thing now. And everybody loves Cardi B. We've missed out on Cardi B in a while. So all three together make a pretty big headline. Cardi B defends porn after Candace Owens calls for all-out ban. Rapper Cardi B has publicly defended pornography following media personality Candace Owens' call for a total ban. Owens argued that porn should be outlawed due to its negative social impacts. In response, Cardi B countered by emphasizing the importance of personal freedom and the right to choose what content one consumes. Cardi B highlighted that porn has existed long before the internet, suggests that a ban would be against the public's interest and freedom of expression. Very big issue, very serious issue to talk about. And we apologize for the split screen picture. We didn't pick this. We searched for the internet for something that had the two in them. This was one of the better ones. It wasn't the one used by TMZ where we pulled the story. So we didn't want to use their story. And so it's not the best look for Candace Owens, but it's just a shot there. Cardi always dolled up to the 10s, the 11s, the 12s in this picture. I think that was kind of the point that the graphic artist wanted to do in this one. But this is something that for all the sort of hate and vitriol I sort of have now for Miss Owens, I'm not saying she's right, but she's got a point. The real point is the fact that pornography is not great on society, and the internet makes it such readily available just to anyone's hands. That's why we're so afraid of these kids with these cell phones, because they have access to all these things instantly. Cardi B, completely right, because freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom to do what you want to as an adult, even if there are the issues for what happens for the children. And for adults, porn is kind of a thing too. So there's issues there. This is a serious issue. We should chat this one up. Respond in the comments to this video. Tell me what you think about this one. Let's not get stuck on the porn so much stuff. Well, I guess it is stuck on the porn stuff. But let's talk about how this is a real society impactful issue and how porn is affecting all of us, whether we actually consume it or we don't. Let's keep on going, though. Keep the stories moving, because number 7 for this morning of the 8 stories today, this one's a doozy. India may have recorded its hottest temperature ever amid severe heat wave. Delhi, the capital of India, has experienced its highest ever recorded temperature, 52.9 degrees Celsius, 127.2 degrees Fahrenheit. This is a city. This is a place. This is not in the middle of the desert. This is where people, well, it is in the middle of the desert. This is where people actually live. The record-breaking heat wave has caused severe distress among residents and strained infrastructure, with many areas facing water shortages and power outages. Extreme temperatures have sparked concerns over climate change and its impacts on India's already hot summer months. Authorities are urging people to stay indoors, stay hydrated, and take necessary precautions to avoid heat-related illnesses. And in places like India, countries like that, where many people live well below what we call a standard of living of poverty, air conditioning and cooling centers aren't a real thing. 127 degrees is a real thing, and it's a pretty deadly thing to get through. We are definitely sending thoughts and prayers and all the positive energy we can. Wish we can sell lots of ice, but that's not going to happen to the folks in India and folks in that region in general because of the extreme heat going on. And of course, climate change. And finally, the number 8 story for this morning, based on your engagement, Chipotle says its portion sizes haven't changed despite complaints on TikTok. Let me repeat that one more time. Chipotle says its portion sizes haven't changed despite complaints on TikTok. Many TikTokers, some of them famous, some of them just folks out there, have been posting to social media and just in general about the shrinking portion sizes. This is not necessarily a new thing, as we'll talk about in a moment, the $18 Big Mac meal, but you're starting to get less stuff and paying more money for it to just kind of weigh things out. That's how things go. You start paying more for things and they shrink. Shrinkflation is a thing. But despite these claims, the companies insist that their portion sizes have not changed. Laurie Shallow, the Chipotle's chief corporate affairs and food safety officer, stated that the company is not implementing smaller portions and attributes the perceived resistance to normal variations in serving sizes. This response comes amid increased scrutiny on their popular social media platforms such as TikTok, where voices of concerns on dissatisfaction, with portion sizes at the restaurant. We're complaining about all places, all stuff, $18 Big Mac coming up in a minute, but Chipotle is getting a lot of extra heat, I guess because of the hot topic these days, about their shrinking sizes of their meals at the place. But Chipotle says it's all in your head. It's all in your mind. It's all in your mind. Speaking of your mind, there was a thing about an $18 Big Mac meal. We're going to talk about that right now in our teaser story segment. Now, the teaser story is a story that we use to tease how stories get into the Conversation Project and how you can be a part of the Conversation Project. Literally how you tell me what to talk about, you putting words into my mouth every single day. What you do for the Conversation Project is you go to Facebook and X. Now, Facebook, we're in Facebook jail, so today is not really all that big deal. But our home on Facebook is facebook.com/This Is Conversation Project. We're working on that. We should be out hopefully in a day or so. On Twitter, or X now, we're going to focus more calling it X. We'll change to Chiron in a bit or so. X.com/TH_conversation. Now, all you need to do is look for our news stories when you're checking your other feeds or other things. When you're looking for your Trump news, we're there as well. See what we're talking about. Engage with us. Just like, love, hate, share. Click the little emoji face that you want to for the thing you want to, and get more engagement for stories. The higher the engagement of a story, the better chance we have of talking about it in the next iteration. We will give you 8 stories of a day out of the top 15 stories of a day, about 30 or so per day, Tuesday through Friday. And Monday, because there's 3 days to count, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a little bit of Monday, we'll give you 10 stories out of 30 for the top weekend stories. So 8 stories today came from that one. This is one I'm pretty sure will make the cut in the top 15. We'll see how well it does with its per engagement. Headline reads, McDonald's says $18 Big Mac meal was an exception, and news reports overstated its price increases. We just talked about Chipotle and how Chipotle saying that they are not making smaller portions to make up for prices, while people believe they are. The $18 Big Mac receipt meal was out there on social media. Also, like the $30 Five Guys meal, that's one as well. But people are seeing increases in the prices. We're seeing a whole lot of crazy about the $20 an hour minimum wage on the West Coast in California, making all sort of havoc for fast food places and also lower wage things as well. McDonald's says this one in particular was a blow up that was unfair. You can read the article and get the explanation that they give to you. Take it or leave it. And of course, comment about it so we can have bigger conversations, because that's what the Conversation Project is ultimately about. Conversations with you about stories that really matter, that really make a difference. Let's move on and talk about a sponsor that makes a difference. All our sponsors makes a difference, and we want you to check out our sponsors page on our website at thisisaconversationproject.com/sponsorships. But we also, or sponsors, I should say, sponsors. But today we are highlighting Fundrise, a great sponsor of I used them as a service before I actually used them as a sponsor last year. I joined into their fund, which was a way to diversify into housing without actually building houses. Who would have thunk? You put money into a fund and somebody manages in their real estate. They manage the holdings. They let you know what they're buying, what they're selling, what they're renting out, what they're renovating, how the market's up, how the market's down, how things are going. Fundrise now has a new innovation fund for a investment as low as $10 that you get into. You can invest in some of the biggest, newest, awesomest technologies that normally guys like Tim Ferriss get into because he's somewhat famous for whatever reason. But guys like him, Gary Vee, those folks that are just sort of random guys who got internet famous and got a little money, people care about what they think, get into these funds and can make lots of money and be influential in there. Kara Swisher, someone else like that. Scott Galloway, a new guy on the scene who's also talking about Fundrise. Fundrise is a way to get into this, and you can be a regular dude, and just $10 can get you into the innovation fund. Or stick with me into the fund for housing. Housing's still kind of but it will right itself at some point, and I'm pretty sure it's going to come back. I lost no money the first year I was in the housing fund at Fundrise, and I am a client before I was an actual endorser. But I'm endorsing it here. We get a small commission for you joining in with Fundrise, so check it out. And if you don't like it, we're just trying our best. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/fundrise. This is theconversationprod.com/fundrise. Click our affiliate link so we do get a bit of cut of this one. Your help as our going through our sponsor links helps us keep the Conversation Project going well and going at all. So thank you so much for all those who are going to give it a shot, because we love you guys profusely. Now, we love you guys also if you have the means to just give to us directly. You can do that by going to our website, thisisaconversationproject.com, and becoming a partner. Partnerships is awesome. Partnerships is great. Partnerships means you are directly funding the things we're doing here. And how do we do that? You become a partner. There are various ways on the website. You can join us via our Buy Me a Coffee link, which is a monthly subscription. There are links to various Cash App and Venmo type things to allow you some one-time donations. And you can just give and tell us what's going on. We look to you as partners to literally partner up to do greater things with things of the Conversation Project. That is what literally what we're doing with this. The part is to be partners, be good, be big, be bold. We're looking to you for knowledge, for sounding boards, and just kind of getting things going on. Now, if you're not one for partnership, you can still help out and not spend a penny. Follow us on our feeds, Facebook and X, and tell us what to talk about. That's the most important thing about the conversation. Telling us what to talk about and responding to things as you see them in the feeds. Follow our videos, share those as well so that people can get more conversational in more conversations. You like that one, huh? And of course, email us, the conversation inbox at gmail.com. Just because you're sending us an email for free does not mean that your feedback is any less important. We need all the feedback, all the talk, all the conversation that we can get about A, the stories and the news and things we're talking about, and B, the actual conversation project. This is something that has grown over the past 3 years, coming in from the initial videos popping in. At one point in time, the real origins the real origins is the newsletter, but essentially the origins of this video thing was a podcast that was born from robot readers reading the newsletter and then doing the podcast as a thing, and the wannabe radio show and things like that. But this is essentially born out of a survey, thought for a survey site, to just get people's thoughts on things. And now we talk specifically about news topics that you guys tell me are important or conversational, that really resonate with folks. I can't do this without you. So even if you're not a partner, then be a friend, keep up with the feeds, do what you can do to keep things going, and show some love when you can, will you? Because sometimes just a small bit of attaboys means something. Follow us on TikTok, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook when we're back out of jail. Follow us on the X. Follow the Yellow Brick Road. Now, let's do this, shall we? It is time for things you might ought to know for today, which is not Tuesday. It's actually Thursday, May the 30th. So there's that. But for our 2024, I guess I said yesterday was Tuesday too as well. I should check that part out as well in the typing. But we are talking about things you might know, fun things for today, usually called just the fun stuff. And we're going to get into those things that you can enjoy with someone, and maybe even win a bet. You know, you can see how that works out going forward. Now, let's go to the first fun thing. We always start off with birthdays for the day. And today's birthdays start off with the show killer, Ted McGinley, who's 66 years old. The show killer is sort of what I don't know if they really call him that in the industry, but we at home have called him that for many times. He came on to Happy Days as it was going off the air. He came on to The Love Boat as it's going off the air. He came on to Married with Children and maybe saved it, which is kind of odd. But Ted McGinley, a very talented actor, very talented guy, good looking dude. Also, you know, one of the stars of Revenge of the Nerds. He's 66 years old and not sure what he's doing these days because TV is kind of bad. There's no shows to kill, but I'm sure he'll find one fairly soon. Idina Menzel is 53 years old, the menace of people my age, because we had kids at a certain age when that movie of a certain time has had that song that was in our heads over and over and over and over. By the way, there's 2 more coming. I'm not sure who's going to watch it, but Idina Menzel, a Broadway actress, star, and still feeling a little weird about playing Leah Michelle's mom in Glee, although they look like they could be sisters or mothers or whatnot. She's 53 years old today. And some love to Javicia Leslie, who played Batwoman. She played another character in the last season of The Flash, who wasn't Batwoman, even though she's played the same person but different universe. And of course, from God Friended Me, 37 years old on the day. More fun stuff goes into history. History is fun. You don't think history is fun? History is awesome. Let's talk about 3 things that happened on this day back in the day for May 30th. Starting with the first one, feeling old today, the compact disc was introduced in 1981. In 81, when I was in first grade, the compact disc was introduced, and now here it is 43 years later, and they're basically useless. There you go. Records lasted forever and are back. Compact discs, pretty much done. In 1996, Britain's Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson were granted an uncontested divorce, ending their 10-year marriage. For whatever reason, the long story-told marriages of the British royals stopped working so well in the late 80s and early 90s. Of course, Charles and Diana, Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. These things don't last very well. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry literally divorcing the monarchy because weirdness. For whatever reason it means to be royalty and to be like a prince and princess or king and queen, apparently don't work out so well in relationships. Keep that on your radar when you think about those fairy tale romances. And in 2006, FBI said it found no trace of missing labor leader Jimmy Hoffa after digging up a suburban Detroit horse farm. They've dug out a lot of places looking for Jimmy Hoffa. They've not found him. He's nowhere to be found. No one can find him. If you're under maybe 30, maybe under 45, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Google it. Today's word from the Big Word Project is wrath. One of my favorite words. Wrath and automatopoeia are kind of fighting for 1 and 2. It means strong, stern, or fierce anger, or deeply resentful, indignant, ire. The villain's wrath knew no bounds as he sought vengeance on those who wronged him. Wrath. The Wrath of Khan. Anybody under 35 definitely has no idea what that's all about. But yeah, we'll go with that one. Let's move on to a daily affirmation. From the wrath to something more positive, much more positive. Our affirmation for today is, I am prepared to succeed. This enhances self-confidence. Repeating the affirmation, I am prepared to succeed, bolsters self-confidence by reinforcing beliefs in one's abilities and readiness to face challenges. More information about affirmations, you can go to the website and click on the link on the affirmation for the day. It'll take you to a place where you can buy one of my newest books called 100 Daily Affirmations. So check it out and get into affirmation yourself, or find your own affirmation as you need to. And today we are celebrating, although celebrating seems like the odd word, but we're going to have a celebration. World MS Day. We are celebrating for the awareness and the care and the love and the braveness of folks who suffer from multiple sclerosis. So today on World MS Day, we are going to give a salute. We're going to clap our hands. We're going to shout to the heavens for those who are dealing with this terrible disease and trying to spread, at least the World MS organizations are trying to spread more information about what's going on in research and in recovery and in survival. Go to worldmsday.org for more details on how to get in on the day, get on the deal for World MS Day. And that's it. It is Thursday. It is May 30th, 2024. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. We're wrapping up today's edition of Things You Might Have Heard. Went a little long, a little rambly today. Sorry about that. But I think the content was good. I think the scripting was well. I think I was a bit off in my focus, if you will. So we're going to work on that. You comment to me and let me know how well or unwell, and that could be taken so many ways, we went today for the actual show. Follow us on our feeds, Facebook when it's back and X when it's up, to see what's going on. We do our best to give you the best stories out there because we give you a bunch of stories. You tell us what stories you want to talk about. We pick the ones that we think work out best for this dialogue here. Dialogue with us in the comments and emails at the conversation inbox, gmail.com. Stop by our website. Consider becoming a partner. Make sure you're seeing things. Sign up for the email newsletter, which is very important because if I get lost on the X as well, that's the only way we have to communicate. So sign up for the email newsletter so we can keep on keeping on. Love you. Mean it. Stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task for all the grand things you're here on this planet to do. I'm going to wrap it up for today. Get in for my Thursday. You do this as well. Have a great Thursday. Have a great day. Let's see you here